Hey guys, this is Adam Blackstar, and today I decided to celebrate the beginning of my 4-day vacation from work by shooting a video. It's been about a week since I've uploaded a video, and it's so much fun that I decided to just do another one and maybe answer some more questions on the survey question for atheist survey thing. Yeah. As you can see, I have my Christmas tree up in the background because I do still celebrate Christmas despite the fact that I'm not celebrating any religious sort of thing. To me, Christmas is about my family. It's about peace and goodwill toward men. It's about opening presents, eating good food, and nostalgia and so many wonderful things about the holiday that you don't even have to play into like the religious card there. And truthfully, even when I was a Christian, uh, you know, Christmas was about Jesus to an extent, but generally we would have all the Jesus stuff pretty much out of the way and wrapped up before the actual day hit. We would have our church service and the church play and all that stuff. So by the time that Christmas Day actually hit, then it was time to just do fun stuff and have fun. And I guess what I'm doing is I'm admitting that I was not a very good Christian, at least on Christmas, and I have no argument with that. Also, I got some complaints that I was shooting my videos in the dark. So I decided to turn the lights on this time, just at least once, so that you can see you're really not missing anything. I mean, the walls are bare. When the Christmas tree comes down, it's just really not that exciting. And also, having the lights on kind of kills the whole mystique that I was going for, where you just saw my pasty white face and nothing else. Kind of an Emperor Palpatine sort of a thing. I hadn't quite gone as far as the hood yet, but that was in the works. It's pointless now. But anything for my faithful viewers. Excuse me. So, anyway, I figure why not just jump into these questions? I've already said a lot, and it's only 2.5 minutes in, so let's see how much I can say in the next 15 minutes or so. We're going to go to question number 11, and it asks, what is my opinion of God? What is my opinion of the concept of the God of the Bible? Well, that's an interesting question. There's a few answers here because it's multiple choice. The God of the Bible is a moral monster. The God of the Bible is loving. The God of the Bible is fiction. The God of the Bible is a construct of other God concepts. And I don't really like any of those answers too much. I would rather make up my own, so I'm going to do that. I think the God of the Bible is pretty much whatever you want him to be. And I realize that doesn't answer the question specifically because they're saying, what is your opinion of the concept of the God of the Bible? Meaning, specifically, the God as the Bible portrays him. The problem with that is, how does the Bible portray him? It kind of depends on who you're reading, what book you're reading. It depends on whether it's Old or New Testament. Again, I'm not sure that this God of the Bible is really knowable. Of course, there are millions of people who will disagree with that and insist that they know him, that he's their best friend, and they've had this long, long relationship. But that's one thing I talked about a little in my deconversion video, and that is that everyone's concept of God, God is pretty much a reflection of them. And I really started to understand that late in my Christianity, that God was a lot like me. God talked to me the way that I talked. God had a sense of humor that was like my sense of humor, and that was how I related to God. I mean, it's hard to relate to an imaginary friend when they are so starkly different from you that you just have nothing in common. Nobody's imaginary friend is like that. Otherwise, you wouldn't be friends with them, right? So everyone is is forced in their own way in order to have this relationship. They are forced to make different allowances or to kind of make make decisions or judgments about this God character uh, to sort of mold him into what they need him to be for this relationship to exist. So, long rambling answer, but the answer is specifically uh, I have no opinion of the concept of the God of the Bible because I don't think that there is a single cohesive concept of the God of the Bible. Now, if you ask me a specific incident, or what is your opinion of when God did this, I could answer more specifically. Moving on to the next question, what is your opinion of the Christian concept of hell? And there's some choices again. Hell is an idea invented to control people. Hell is an idea meant to scare people. It's kind of the same as the first one. Hell is what we experience on earth. Hell does not exist. Well, this is another interesting question because I'm not sure that there is a single answer to that. It really depends on what Christian you're talking to. The question asks, what is your opinion of the Christian concept? But again, there really is no Christian concept. It's not as if all Christianity agrees on this single concept of God. And that's something that I've really found out by wading into different debates and asserting things about hell and finding out that the people that I was debating with don't even hold those beliefs. My concept of hell growing up was the Dante's Inferno concept. And to me, that was supported by Scripture. If you go to the parable of Jesus talking about the rich man, and he's in agony, and he asks, I believe, Abraham to wet the tip of his tongue because he's burning or something like that. I may be getting my parables confused. But the Dante's Inferno concept seemed to be supported to me. But there are many Christians, depending on who you're talking to, Pentecostal, Baptist, Jehovah's Witness, Episcopalian, they have different views of what hell is. Some think there's no hell. Some think that hell is just separation from God. And some think hell is cold. Some think hell is lonely. So it's like, I don't know. What is the Christian concept of hell? There isn't one. So the question itself is sort of moot. Question 13, what is your opinion of evolution? Evolution. The issue with questions like that is my opinion of evolution doesn't matter. Evolution is not a religious doctrine. It's a scientific theory, and it's a biological fact. So when I see, and I'm guilty of this, but when I see lay people debating the merits of evolution, you have an atheist and you have a believer, and you have the atheist who has just been reading the science, and you have a believer who's been out reading Kinham or some other Christian science site. You don't really have anybody there with credentials to actually be making any valid observances. What they're doing is they are just arguing what they have read. So really what this question comes down to me is, who do you believe? Do you believe the consensus of scientists? Do you believe that they are telling the truth? Or do you believe that evolution is some kind of religious, I hear the term Darwinism sometimes. Do we think that this is a conspiracy of some sort to undermine Christianity? My problem with that is that, first of all, I find that really far-fetched and hard to believe, and second, because of all the Christians who also happen to be scientists, who actually do believe or who say that evolution is true. It's a fact. So, of course, they could be faking it. They could just be atheists who are pretending to be Christians to somehow invalidate the opinions of all the real legitimate Christians who are scientists who are saying evolution is wrong, is pseudoscience. But I was actually having a debate with a believer on this recently, and he started going into all of this stuff, like this is why evolution's wrong and all this stuff. And I said, well, I'm not a biologist and I'm not an expert in this to sit here and go tit for tat with you, but I'm interested in knowing what are your credentials in expressing that you believe that 98% of scientists are wrong about evolution. He's like, well, and credentials aren't important. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, I think they kind of are important. If you're somebody who is not even trained in those fields, who does not know how they arrived at these conclusions, and if evolution is the only conclusion that they've reached that you are debating with, then it's clear that or maybe I shouldn't say it's clear, but I suspect that you're only attacking this one position because you have some kind of an axe to grind with this one position. So yes, I want to know if you're going to say that all these scientists are wrong. I'm going to want to know your credentials to say that, to argue with these scientists, because unless we are taking part in these in the science, so long as we're just lay people reading about the science, our decision, the decision we really have to make here, is who has the credibility and who's and is it likely that the consensus, is it likely that the vast majority are just out to deceive us in some way? That's really seems to me the more pertinent question. If you disagree, certainly let me know why in the comments. Question number 14, how would you define what truth is? I would say that, let me see if there's any answers I like here that phrase it really well. Relative to the individual's belief system, no. Independent of our existence, yes, I would say it's independent of our existence. A statement or concept that corresponds to reality, yes, I like that. Yes, actually, a truth is a statement or concept that corresponds to reality. Sometimes I've debated people about like the laws of logic, and they want to talk about how Christians want to talk about how the laws of logic are immaterial. And I have told them actually, let me see, they'll say something about how I don't know, but really what it comes down to is I point out to them that the laws of logic are they're abstractions. The laws of logic are man-made. We made the laws of logic. In fact, logic itself is a product of human beings. And you can go read about it. I mean, it's not like I'm making some kind of bold claim here. Just go read about logic. And that kind of floors them because their entire argument is built upon logic being this immaterial thing that's out there that only an intelligent designer could have come up with. And it's like, no, logic is just an abstraction. Logic is like an observance of how reality works. Logic is based on reality. And so truth is that, let me see how this phrased it. Truth corresponds with reality. And that's simply what it is. It has nothing to do with what one believes or what wants to be true or what they agree is true. Truth is just it's just that which corresponds with reality. And the laws of logic are true because they correspond with reality. They're not true because they were created by an intelligent designer. They were tested. They were developed in ancient times. Go read about it, my Christian friends. Let's see. Got time for a couple more. Question number 15. Do you affirm that the physical universe is all there is and that all things can be explained in terms of motion, matter, chemical reaction? Do you affirm that the physical universe is all there is and that all things can be explained in terms of motion, matter, chemical reaction, etc.? Do I affirm that? No, I do not affirm that. There's no reason why I should affirm that. There's no reason why I should commit myself to that. It may be that there are it may be that it's not possible for me to be aware of all that is actually real. I mean, we talked about reality and that truth corresponds with reality. It's possible that I am not capable of being aware of all those things that are true. Uh, it's possible that I just do not have uh, the faculties to be able to perceive certain things. So the fact that I cannot observe those things does not make them not real, but it is fallacious of me to assert that they are real. I follow the evidence, and that is what anyone with integrity should do. We should follow the evidence. We should be open to wherever the evidence leads. We should not make up conclusions that evidence doesn't lead us to. Question number 16. If you were at one time a believer in the Christian God, what caused you to deny his existence? Well, that is a loaded question. Maybe the questionnaire did not intend it to be that way, but I'm not denying anyone's existence. What I'm saying is that I see no reason to believe that they exist. To deny something would seem to imply that this thing actually exists and that I am simply in denial. I don't think that's the case. I'm not big into denying the truth. That's why I am here. That's why I do not have those beliefs anymore, because I recognized that there was no real rational path to holding those beliefs to begin with, and therefore I could not continue to hold those beliefs. It was not a choice I made. I did not choose to deny something. It was just a product of being honest enough to recognize that that lack of a logical path to that particular belief that I held for the first 30-some years of my life. We're approaching 20 minutes, but I'm going to continue on and answer another one. Question 17, do you believe the world would be better off without religion? Yes, probably. I think that it would be. I don't really know. There have been arguments made of, well, here are positive things that religion has to offer, even if it's not true. And the whole claim about religion being so awesome, and like charities and stuff like that, I don't really buy that. That sort of thing is not a product of religion. It's a product of human compassion. And I happen to think that without religion, there would be more human compassion, not less human compassion. There's also been arguments made, even by other atheists, that some people just need religion. Well, I don't really think they need religion. I think that religion is kind of like a drug. I think that the fact that they need religion stems from the fact that they were raised on it to begin with, and now they don't know how to live without it. If that had not been uh, drilled into them to begin with, then I don't think that they would have nearly as many problems leaving it behind. Okay. I'm going over 20 minutes. I know some people are not going to like that, but you can break it up in segments or whatever. Question 18. Do you believe the world would be better off without Christianity? I think I just answered that. Apparently, they think Christianity is special from just religion in general. Therefore, they get to ask the same question twice, only change the word religion to Christianity. I've already answered it. Question 19. If you oppose Christianity, which of the following options best fits your reason? A. I oppose Christianity because Christianity is morally wrong. B. Because Christianity is dangerous. C. Because Christianity is oppressive. D. I don't oppose Christianity. Which of the following options best fits your reasons? Oh, wow. Well, I'm not sure that I would, it's morally wrong, but it's morally wrong for reasons B and C. So that I guess I would say the best option is because it's dangerous. But why be limited to these options? I oppose Christianity because it's not true, as far as I can tell. Because there's no reason to think that it is true. Because even the people that hold those beliefs can't demonstrate that it's true. Therefore, there is no reason for me to make any sort of allowance for the possibility that it might be true. So if we can't demonstrate that it's true, why do we believe it? And where it really gets dangerous to me is when we are indoctrinating children with things that we can't even demonstrate are true, and raising them up as little religious zombies to run and bury their heads in the sand to escape from reality, and to assume that everything which contradicts their religious beliefs is some kind of a conspiracy. Yeah, so that's my answer to that. I am going to answer one more question. Question number 20. Do you believe that faith in a god or gods is a mental disorder? No, I do not. No. I have seen some people say this, and maybe this is from people who just never have believed in God before or had any religious beliefs. It's a silly notion that it's a mental disorder, and anyone who has been a believer, I'm sure, will affirm this. Most of us believe because we were taught to believe that. And we were taught to fear questioning that. Was believing in Santa Claus a mental disorder? Of course not. Of course it wasn't. Believing in God or gods is not a mental disorder either. It's just, I don't even know what you would call it, a delusion. It's just a delusion. And it is perpetuated by fear and by weakness, by ignorance. There are many factors that propagate religious belief, but I do not believe that it is a mental disorder. So that's 20 questions. I'm sorry, that's 10 questions for this video, and it's been fun. And I hope that you all have a very happy holidays, or not, if you don't celebrate them. And I will see you in a week or so, and thanks a lot for watching.